Welcome back to the channel. Familiar sight for everyone. Still working on it. Did make a little bit of progress this week. A couple of the days that I came out to work on this, I didn't have the camera with me, but that heater just quit. I don't know why. That's weird. So what I got done this week, if I can get the ladder out of the way, and it's fired back up. Sometimes that happens. So I got this brake all done. Got my wheel cylinder on, I got my spring back on, I cleaned up that pin that runs through there so that I've got good action there. I will say that getting that inner brake disc off was not easy. Here it is. But boy, where those ridges are in there, and it's on that spline shaft. That spline shaft had a lot of rust and other issues, and I really had to work it off. And once I got it off, I had to run a screwdriver, a lot of brushing, really get it clean and smooth so that the new discs, when I put them in there, will actuate correctly. So I got that all done. I also, if you peek into that little hole, got the control box for the 3-point back in. Got it all basically hooked back up last night with my cables over here all hooked back up, all my lines back on. I did fill it with, I took out that top port there and filled it with hydraulic fluid so that I wanted to make sure I didn't have any leaks. And I was talking to a buddy this morning. I think when I start this thing, when I get it all basically done, I'm not going to have the fuel tank in it. I'm going to leave this open back here so that I'll start it off a nurse tank so I can make sure everything's okay and I don't have any major leaks back here, any problems. Because once you put the fuel tank in, that definitely changes all that up. So that's kind of where everything is right now. What I'm going to work on probably initially today, because later today it's supposed to rain, maybe sleet, maybe ice, I don't know. But I'm going to clean up my axle shaft here. I'm going to clean up the wedges that go on there. I'm going to move the tire so that I can get to the cast center. I'm going to clean up around the edge of the rim. I'm going to clean up that and get that set back on so I can get my tire and wheel and everything back on here. And then once that's done, I can get it off the jack stands, and then a bunch of other little things I can do. So Oliver Phil, I think, is snowmobiling this weekend, and I know that when he gets back, one of his priorities is going to be to get my hydraulic lines done. And once that happens, things are going to really start moving on this. So I have a whole lot of little things that I need to accomplish before that happens. One of which is like when I took the seat off to get it recovered, I snapped a couple of the bolts off. I need to drill those out. Trying to think, there's just a bunch of little things, and then I'm gonna have to mess around with wiring coming up here to get the wiring redone, get some new wires, because a lot of the wires that they were using were not suitable for what we're doing here. So yeah, that's kind of I can get this belt on too. I need to get that on. That's one more little thing. I need to get my oil filters filled with oil and screw those on for the oil cooler. I probably need to check into getting new hoses for some of these places, but that can maybe wait just a little bit. And yeah, when I do that, I'm gonna have to put a new return line on here. That rubber's bad, so I'll kind of like the other one, I'll replace that whole line. And I'll eventually have to run a whole new fuel line to the back of the fuel tank. So lots of little things, couple big things, couple little things to keep moving forward on this and get it to where it needs to be. like I said, once he gets the hoses done, then I can put my steering cylinders on, I can put my lift cylinders on the back, I can get a lot done. So there's the control box from the other side, nice and yellow in there when everything else is red. So that was kind of my week, was just getting a little bit done when I had a little bit of time. But I think right now the main thing is moving these heavy pieces around, getting everything cleaned up, putting it back on. So I'll bring it back here in a couple minutes when it might be more in a couple minutes, but when we're putting the cast center on. And then always fun moving a tire that big around by yourself, but the gantry helps to get the center back on. I'm sorry, the tire. All right, got the tire moved out of the way. I ran the wire wheel around the inside of the rim where it contacts the cast center. Next thing I need to do is I need to wire wheel around the edge of the cast center, get rid of all that dirt. I need to chase the threads here, and I'm gonna do it out here on these. So just wanted to share with you guys that's what I was doing. When I mentioned earlier, I thought about this after I quit filming, that it's gonna rain and possibly freeze rain, whatever. Why does that matter? Well, the truck's sitting outside and I'd rather not make it an icicle or an ice pop or a whatever. So hoping to get this back on, and if it starts doing that freezing rain stuff, I can get the truck backed in here, and then I can work, you know, after I'm done moving the gantry all over the place. Once this tire's back on, then I can back the truck in here if it gets nasty today, which I don't know if it's going to do or not. But anyway, I'm going to work on cleaning this up, and it's going to be very boring watching me chase threads. I'm not going to show you that, nor the wire wheeling. Is going to be a lot of dust kicking up, but I'll get that done and then I'll bring it back and we're putting this thing back on. All right, so I chased my threads, and the threads of all the bolts that going around where the rim attaches. I've put never sees in the middle and around the edge on my wedges. I coated the inside because I did the outside, you know, the cone that goes over these, so I don't need to do that on these. And those will rest here. I've cleaned this up. I've marked where my wedges need to be. And so where those are never seized will sit on here. And now I just need to finagle the gantry back over here into this corner in order to put this on. I had to shut this heater off because I got to move it, I think, in order to fit it back here. So maybe move some stuff around. We'll see what we can do. All right, so I got it over here. Got my top wedge on. This is the one without the key on it. The other one was set so that that key was on top. So hopefully that doesn't cause me any issues. So just draw this on here a little bit. Holes are going to be off here because the way that this was set up. So I'm going to try to get one of these bolts started just to maybe get things to line up just a little. This center is heavy. Chains on the wrong side of it. I think if that was on the other side, I'm going to try to let this down and relieve, put that chain on the other side. That might help spin me just a little. Definitely helps some. It's not going to bite because what I need to do is let it down just a hair. right, so I got it started just to help hold that be lined up a little bit. So now put my bottom wedge in. If it'll hopefully, if I back that down just a little. Let's see. Maybe I need to go up just a little. And I need my hammer. The problem is the keyway's not in there. So and so I need to move that direction. Hopefully not to put too much bind on that bolt. There we go. Now my keyway's in. Need to get past this ring on the end. I probably should have taken that off. All right, it's past there, so it should go in a little easier now. My knees are killing me. It's not. But since I've got that on the keyway, I wonder if I can take this bolt out now, get that slid in. This is a little bit of a dance to figure out if I have too much tension on it or not enough. Alright, my problem is I'm in the keyway over there, but I'm not in the keyway on this side. But I'm close. So in order for it to go in, gotta rotate. Oh, I'm close, but not close enough. It's definitely helped when the outside keyway was on top. I'm gonna play with this a few minutes. I'm not gonna make you watch this whole thing because this is gonna be, I'm gonna have to fight with this a little bit, I think. But we'll get her. We'll get it figured out one way or the other. We have to, right? Gotta get this thing back together. All right, after I had to kind of release the center back, get everything relined up, but now I'm pretty well lined up. So I'm just gonna tighten these up just a little. Don't know what's going on with my gun here. I think it's a setting. pressure on the center. Now, I need to draw them in equally. Gun's got different settings, and I'm not sure what I should be on here. All right. I'll release this down a little bit more. And I think I just heard the rain start. Hopefully it's rain and not sleet. Alright, I think I'm pretty tight there. I'm on my mark. Pretty much that should be good to go. So it's just doing this by yourself, it's always a bit of a challenge. So now I'll go out and get hooked up on the tire and bring it over here and try to get it lined up. Problem is this notch is on the side. So I know I'm gonna have to do a lot of playing around to get this tire rotated around so that notch goes in there perfectly. And it's not necessarily science. It's kind of sometimes by the luck of the draw. So we'll work on that next. All right, I've got the tire navigated over here now. So now I need to get it kind of in place and then make sure that my notches are going to line up. I know I'm probably a little off right now, but not too far off. This is the touchy part of doesn't want to roll. My trolley doesn't want to roll real good on my, I don't know why, but anyway. Definitely got to spin the tire this way, which means I got to release the tension on the chain on top, kind of move it over that way, kind of rotate it that way because I can't do it by hand. This tire weighs quite a bit. this is a real pain. Might have been just a little too much. So I'm going to play with this going back and forth till I get it lined up, and then I'll try to get this a little closer to drop in there. All right, she's back on. Sorry I didn't show that. There's just basically no room over here to set you guys up. But I got the top one started, jacked it up a little bit so that the rim kind of fell into place. Then I got the bottom ones on and went around and tightened them up. So we're back on. I checked my axle length sticking out on both sides is the same. Now I can get the gantry out of the way, and yeah, glad that's done. Got her back on 4 wheels, and now I can start working on some other stuff, I guess. I'm trying to think. I'll think of it here in a minute after I move the gantry out of the way, and we'll come back and see what's the next thing on the list. All right, so I got 2 filters here for the oil cooler. I just filled them with oil, pretty much full. I don't know if you can see it or not, but anyway, got the oil in there. So I'm going to go over and get you guys set up over here where you can see me put them on. It's going to be super exciting, and so I don't want you to miss this. But if I can do this without spilling any oil, that will be that'll be a win, I guess. So, all right, I'll get you set up, and then we'll come back and put these filters on. All right, it's really starting to rain, so get these on. I'm going to shut down the heaters. Truck in. So again, it doesn't turn into an icicle tonight or this afternoon. Okay, one down. I am just before I put these on and put just a little bit of oil around that O-ring. Or the seal, rubber seal. Their Napa Gold 1261 is the filter these take. All right, there we go. Super exciting. But we got filters back on. I think after I move the truck in, next thing maybe we'll try to tackle is getting that belt on there. So I'll show you that here in a minute. Well, I'm not even sure if you can hear me, but I obviously didn't succeed in getting the truck in here in time because that sleet, maybe a little hail. I got it in there before this started because right now I can barely even hear myself thinking here. Holy smokes. That's what we got going on. Of course, being in the barn, it sounds pretty bad, but I feel bad for the work truck. What are you going to do? It's February. All right. We'll work on that belt. All right, so this gives you an idea what I'm dealing with here. The belt, it's basically 3 belts in one. It's got to go around this pulley for the power steering pump. That I got to shove up, which weighs quite a bit, and to get it up high enough to get that belt on. I don't know if you could just see that so I think I need to back the adjustment bolt out some. But I need to shove that up and tighten the bolt down there to hold it up while I get the belt lined up, and then adjust it back down. But yeah, it's that apparatus with the pump on it's pretty heavy. This is the hose they had going from the metal line that goes up to the hydraulic tank to here, and on the other one that was a really sizable like hydraulic hose. This thing is so flimsy. I don't know. It is suction, but we'll definitely replace that with a hydraulic rated hose. They cut this metal pipe off in order to put this on, so we'll get it figured out. But I'll double clamp both sides of it just to make sure that we don't have any leaks, because that's a pretty important supply there, because that's your steering. So all right, let me back off that adjustment bolt and find, I think that's probably 3/4. Get that, push that up, tighten it down, and then I should be able to get my belt on, then drop it back down and run my adjustment on it till I got the proper belt tension there. All right, what I did was put it on the bottom pulley, then use the breaker bar on the crank and turn the crank a little to get it to go on. So now I need to loosen this back up, so put some tension back on here. There we go. And then I got to crank down the adjustment bolt to put the proper tension against the plate there to hold tension on the belt, and then I'll retighten that bolt there. But in order to do that, I'm going to block everything that you guys can see. So that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to crank it back down, put tension on it, tighten that up, and then that belt's on, and we should be good to go as far as the power steering pump goes. All right, one thing I know I need to figure out before I get the hydraulic pump. So the hydraulic pump will sit basically right here, and this oil pressure gauge is not going to work. So I need to reroute this. So I might as well take this off today. Or maybe when I'm after church tomorrow, I can kind of stop by the hardware store and see what I can figure out is the best way to move this. I'm thinking a 90 going down, or a 90 in any direction. Actually, boy, that's on there. Oh boy, I might have to get a bigger pipe wrench. I would guess, yeah, that's threaded. Man, not that weak, I didn't think. Give it a couple taps with the dead blow. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to get another pipe wrench. Thought that would be a little easier than it's showing to be. A little bit bigger pipe wrench. There we go. So I could do, let's see here, I could do, dang horse here, a 90 and go up. I almost need the hydraulic pump here to see how that's going to work, and I'll show you why. So here's the back of the oil pump. So it's going to come back. I don't know how far it's going to come back. So if it stopped here, and go 90 and go up, or go in any direction. But I don't know. So, if nothing else, I can get a 90 tomorrow. And then I can determine after I get the hydraulic pump here, from Oliver Fill, I can figure out what direction I need to go. Yeah. Hopefully I can still use that hole for my oil pressure. So, okay, well, I'll have to get that figured out, but regardless, I can take this piece tomorrow to the hardware store and get a 90. That'll work. So, one more thing done. All right, I got up in the cab. I got out one of the bolts that broke on the seat. The other one, it might not come out. It's in a real tight spot. So, we'll see. I think 5 bolts will do holding the seat rather than 6. We'll see. And then they put a clamp to hold one of these remotes on here, and I was taking the remotes off, so I just cut that clamp off because we will not, we'll replace all those with the right couplers. We got all the couplers down here that came off. This one had another clamp on it with a bolt through it that was holding it in place. Kind of some ingenuity. But while I was, my battery went dead on my my angle grinder to cut that off, so I freed up the top link. The top is kind of bent, so it doesn't move as good, but I got it freed up, so I'm pretty happy with that. That even though the top's bent, that it's freed up. So I'm gonna stand here and think, what's one more thing that I can do while I am going through small jobs that need to be done, but they got to get done. All right, so one of the things I've been meaning to do, so I did. So I went around and hit all the grease fittings on this, because I don't think that has happened in quite a while, and including on the shafts there. So made sure I got all those done. So that's all greased, and then I cleaned up these pins that hold the steering cylinders in. Just cleaned them up, made sure they'll take grease, but there's a cotter pin that goes through there, and when I take these off, sometimes I use the impact and just shear those off, because you can't really, especially up underneath there, you can't really get to them. So anyway, I just punched those out too. So again, a bunch of little things, but by getting this stuff done today, when I can't be working on other things, it's going to save me time down the road. So one of the things I just noticed is on this door to hide the steering or the mechanism. Anyway, this is loose, so I probably should find some screws to put in there to keep that from rattling, but I'm going to pull that off and just see how everything looks underneath there. I think this one works pretty well. Sometimes you get slop in them. It's got a little bit of slop, but seems to work all right. They just get worn. The one on the other side, I had to put a new handle in. I think if you watch that one, but anyway, they had welded nuts on the end of the rod that goes up through there, so I got to wait until at some point I can get the welder over here and re-weld those back up, but that's not happening right now. But anyway, I might pull this screw out and just see what I got going on under here, and then if it looks good, maybe lubricate it and then get it screwed down so it's not rattling, because when you're going down the road, yeah, it's pretty annoying. And the other thing I need to get is the weather stripping for around the doors. I did that on the other one, and then around some of the windows. All of these windows need new seals around the edges of them, and I've never done that before, so I'm just gonna have to look into that, or see if I find somebody that is good at doing that. I probably will hold off doing that. If I'm going to keep this one, I'm going to want to paint this cab, so it'd be a good time to pull all the windows out, paint it, and then put them in with new door or window seals. So anyway, so right now I'm going to pull that off and see what I find. All right, got it off. I don't know why there's no paint left behind these. That's weird. Both sides the paint's gone, but anyway, they welded this on the washer on there too, so they've been in both these doors. The wear comes around where that square is, and it wears, but I'm gonna lube this up. The top still has the clip on it, but I'm gonna lube this up and then I'll find some screws and put this back together. I don't think I need to mess with it. It seems to be working all right, so I'm not gonna worry about it. So yesterday I pointed out that it was kind of raining, sleeting, snowing, whatever. And here's the evidence. It's kind of weird. Drove into town this morning for church and they didn't have this in town. Just got a few miles down the road and the road was dry. Anyway, I'm over here right now looking at, I want to check out my lines here. I'm remembering what metal lines that I have that run up to the hydraulic tank, because I want to go in and I want to do an assessment today of what lines I have and what I might need, because kind of making an order before the show in coming up. That's interesting. It's good to know. Here's my old pressure sender for this tractor. Comes out of here. I'm gonna have to see if that plugs there, because then they've got just a plug in the hole there, and they have a little L in there. So if you can see, plumbed in the top is the mechanical, and then you have the electrical, because they have both in here. So I might try to duplicate that. I'm gonna go look at that other motor and see if it's threaded there like this one is. So I lost my train of thought there. Oh, I want to go in for the winter show coming up in Indiana. I'm going to get some parts ordered, because I'm going to meet my parts guy there. He's got some different things for me. But anyway, I wanted to show you that, yep, there's icicles hanging. I hate this, that it's sitting out. One of these days I'm going to get another barn built and this stuff can all sit inside. And that belt that we put on yesterday, you can see they put a new one on here, and I went to Napa to try to get a new one. They couldn't find it. So I don't know. And we still got to get starter cables, battery cables made for this one. And yeah, we'll do that this spring, because I'm going to have to do it on the other tractor that's inside also. Oliver Phil's going to help me with that. So, all right, let's go inside, and I'm going to go through my stash of parts and see what I'm missing here. All right, so it's been a little bit of an adventure going through what I got and what I need. So, found a bunch of the lines back there. I've been able to identify where most of them go. That one I need to clean out the inside. I can put it on now because it has a hydraulic hose that goes to it. And Oliver Phil is not going to have that hose, so I'm going to have to tell him what that one is. And then this one goes around, if the radiator were there, it goes around behind the shield up to the tank, comes back, and it goes to a long tube that comes around to the hydraulic pump, which I don't have that tube. This one goes across the top of the engine. These I think go to the oil cooler, but I'm gonna have to look at the other one. But again, everything's frozen. I don't want to risk pulling the bubble nose off today and cracking it, because everything's frozen. This one I'm not real sure, and this one I'm not real sure, but I know that I can figure it out. That actually might be, I don't know, I thought it might be that one that comes from the breather on the back there down along the side, but I'll get it figured out. I just need to maybe pull the hoods off the other one in order to see. I did get the piece that goes on the back of the motor that holds all the tin work, and then in this bag here is the hydraulic oil cooler. I had it gone through already. I can't even get to where, yeah, it's in there, but I had it gone through when I had the radiator gone through, just to make sure I didn't have any leaks in it. And they actually did have to do repair on it. I checked, so I have the cast piece for the front. I have the screens that go between it and the radiator mount, but they're in pretty bad shape, and I know that Stoms has those. And let's see, I do have on the top, there's a little strip that for when it's a flat nose that covers the hydraulic tank. I have a new one of those that I'll have to paint. Have the hoods. I have the piece that goes over what would be the fuel tank, but on this it's nothing. And then the two shields that come down back there. I have all the tin work for inside. So one thing I see that I'm missing right now so far is once the hydraulic pump is on, there's a steel line that comes up, comes around, and then it's got a rubber piece that joins it. I don't know if I showed that. Comes out, comes up, comes around, and it goes in. If you look back when I was out filming the other one, you can see that on the back of the hydraulic pump. I'm missing that line, and I thought that I had it, and I went back where I stacked everything, and it's not there. So I must be missing that one, which is weird because almost everything else is here. So that's my assessment. So one of the things I need to do is I need to clean up the inside of that line and get it ready to go back on. I'm going to pull that plug out of there and see if they capped it up here, or that's cast over there now in this newer motor, but I bet that's it. So I'm going to pull that off, and obviously it should be black with oil in there. If it is, I can cap this one, put it in here, and do it just like the other one is. Reminds me I need to get a new tack cable also. So little things that's just good to be doing this today to figure out what I do and I don't have, so that down the road we're doing better on I'm not held up like crap, I can't go any further because I'm missing this piece that is like super important. So okay, I'm gonna check some more things out here and bring you back. Maybe want to check that hole, I don't know. Here, I'll bring you back here in a minute. All right, so I cleaned out the inside of all those lines with brake cleaner and then with water. Put it hooked up basically up to the hose and shot water through all of them, then blew them out, got them sitting in front of the heater. So I'll inspect them before I put them on, make sure that they're nothing else, but I mean, I think they all cleaned up all right. I did get the panel back on the door. I went and got some machine screws this morning, the proper ones, got that back on. Problem is that rod that goes back and forth in there, it makes noise too. So I guess I could put duct tape on the inside of that so it's only hitting against the duct tape or something like that to muffle it down. On the other one, it does get kind of loud when you start getting the tires are hitting the road and they're wobbling a little bit. It rattles. So what else? Just kind of going over more of this. I bent 2 Allen wrenches trying to get that out. I put a little bit of heat on it, not much. It's not coming out. I got to try to get a hardened 3/16 Allen wrench to get in there because I'm like literally twisting those Allen wrenches off. But I think that that's my best bet, is to plug this, put my oil sending units in there and sensors, and then that'll be good. The other thing I was looking at is, here's the throttle cable. The throttle cable's got to hook up here. It's got to have a bracket that goes there. That bracket's back here, but I think I can move it over and probably bend it to get it where it needs to be. I'm pretty close right there. So yeah, I gotta figure that out. And what else? I do, when I rewire this, I'm going to wire this so that hopefully that heater in there's a heating element, and the later ones, the 955 has it. So cold weather, you just push a button up there, it heats up the air for the intake, and it does make it start a lot easier. So I'll look into that. And that's about it. I did realize that the hose that goes here to that line I put on today goes to the back of the hydraulic pump. I won't be able to have that one made until we get the pump on here, and then I can measure how long I need that to be. So it's good that I took the time today, that I have some downtime as far as really tearing into this. I was going to get into the wiring harness a little bit more today, but that didn't happen. So little by little we're working on, you know, these little jobs. It's probably a pretty boring video, sorry about that. I just wanted to get some of this stuff done, because once Oliver Phil gets the hydraulic hoses done, we'll be putting stuff together pretty quickly. Once I get to some of the other parts I need, you know, hopefully by the end of March, got this thing real close to running, if not running. And I always say then, because I know some of the parts, like the hydraulic tank that goes up on the front, I'm probably not going to be able to go get, probably go to the PGR winter show, and I'll get it there. So that's where I'm probably going to meet up with my buddy. So that's about it for this one. Sorry, it's kind of a lackluster video for like fun and exciting things. Maybe more excitement to come. Not maybe, there will be better things to come. It's just, this is the nitty gritty of when you get down into doing one of these. And if anybody's done one of these, you know what I'm talking about. Like getting this thing, if I took this apart, I'd know where everything was. I didn't. So now I got to go back to the pile of parts that hopefully I grabbed everything, and figuring out what's missing, figuring out what's there, figuring out what goes, where everything goes. And it's much easier when you pull one of these apart. Now, coupled with that, I'm putting a newer 585 in here than what came on this, so there's certain things that are going to be different on this one than on the original. So little by little, we'll get this figured out and get her running. I mean, that's our goal here, right? So appreciate everybody watching. Got any comments about what I'm doing? I'd love to hear them. See where I'm screwing up. I definitely like hearing that, because that means I don't know what I'm doing and I need somebody to tell me what to do. And yeah, so until the next video, hope everybody stays warm and gets through the rest of this winter, and we'll see you on the next one.